Hi, everyone. It's Miss Hawkbari in the library. I want to talk with you about the book What Happened to Goodbye by the author Sarah Dessen. This is a book from our romance section, and in fact, Sarah Dessen has a lot of romance books in our library. So if this book sounds interesting to you, just know that she has lots of other books available. I wanted to start this book out by reading just a little bit of the first chapter, and then I'll give you a little bit more of the backstory here. Chapter 1. The table was sticky. There was a cloudy smudge on my water glass, and we'd been seated for 10 minutes with no sign of a waitress. Still, I knew what my dad would say. By this point, it was part of the routine. Well, I gotta tell you, I see potential here. He was looking around as he said this, taking in the decor. Luna Blue was described on the menu as contemporary Italian and old-fashioned good. But from what I could tell from the few minutes we'd been there, the latter claim was questionable. First, it was 12:30 on a weekday, and we were one of only 2 tables in the place. Secondly, I just noticed a good quarter-inch of dust on the plastic plant that was beside our table. But my dad had to be an optimist. It was his job. Now, I looked across at him as he studied the menu, his brow furrowed. He needed glasses, but had stopped wearing them after losing 3 pairs in a row. So now he just squinted a lot. On anyone else, this might have looked strange, but on my dad, it just added to his charm. They have calamari and guac, he said, reaching up to push his hair back from his eyes. This is a first. Guess we have to order both. Yum, I said, as a waitress sporting lambskin boots and a miniskirt walked past, not even giving us a glance. My dad followed her with his eyes, then shifted his gaze to me. I could tell he was wondering, as he always did when we made our various escapes, if I was upset with him. I wasn't. Sure, it was always jarring, up and leaving everything again, but it all came down to how you looked at it. Think earth-shattering, life-ruining change, and you're done. But cast it as a do-over, a chance to reinvent and begin again, and it's all good. We were in Lakeview. It was early January. I could be anyone from here. There was a bang, and we both looked over to the bar, where a girl with long black hair, her arms covered with tattoos, had apparently just dropped a big cardboard box on the floor. She exhaled, clearly annoyed, and then fell to her knees, picking up paper cups as they rolled around her. Halfway through collecting them, she glanced up and saw us. "Oh no," she said. "You guys been waiting long?" My dad put down his menu. "Not that long." She gave him a look that made it clear that she doubted this, then got to her feet, peering down the restaurant. "Tracy," she called. Then she pointed at us. "You have a table. Could you please maybe go greet them and offer them drinks?" I heard clomping noises, and a moment later, the waitress in the boots turned the corner and came into view. She looked like she was about to deliver bad news as she pulled out her order pad. "Welcome to Luna Blue," she recited, her voice flat. "Can I get you a beverage?" "How's the calamari?" my dad asked her. She just looked at him as if this might be a trick question. Then finally she said, "It's all right." My dad smiled. "Wonderful. We'll take an order of that and the guacamole. Oh, and a small house salad as well." "We only have vinaigrette today," Tracy told him. "Perfect," my dad said. "That's exactly what we want." She looked over her pad at him, her expression skeptical. Then she sighed and stuck her pen behind her ear and left. I was about to call after her, hoping for a Coke, when my dad's phone suddenly buzzed and jumped on the table, clanging against his fork and knife. He picked it up, squinted at the screen, put it down again, ignoring the message as he had all the others that had come since we'd left Westcott that morning. When he looked at me again, I made it a point to smile. "I've got a good feeling about this place," I told him. "Serious potential." He looked at me for a moment, then reached over, squeezing my shoulder. "You know what?" he said. "You are one awesome girl." His phone buzzed again, but this time neither of us looked at it. And back in Westcott, another awesome girl sat texting or calling, wondering why on earth her boyfriend, the one who was so charming but just wouldn't commit, wasn't returning her calls or messages. Maybe he was in the shower or forgot his phone again, or maybe he was sitting in a restaurant in a town hundreds of miles away with his daughter, about to start their lives all over again. A few minutes later, Tracy returned with the guacamole and salad, plunking them down between us on the table. "Calamari will be another minute," she informed us. "You guys need anything else right now?" My dad looked across at me, and despite myself, I felt a twinge of fatigue thinking of doing this all again. But I'd made my decision 2 years ago to stay or go, to be one thing or many others. Say what you would about my dad, but life with him was never dull. No, he said now to Tracy, although he kept his eyes on me, not squinting a bit, full and blue, just like my own. We're doing just fine. So, as the story starts, our main character, McLean, is with her dad. She lives with her dad after her mom and dad went through a really awful divorce. And for the last 2 years, her dad has kind of been jumping and jumping from restaurant to restaurant to kind of come in and fix places up. And so that's what they're doing in Lakeview. What happens with McLean is every time they move, she has to start over. And like she said in the portion that I read, you can kind of look at that two ways. You can be devastated by the fact that you have to leave your friends, leave your home, start over, or you can think of it as a chance to reinvent yourself. And McLean has done that so many times now that she's not exactly sure who the real McLean is. And so as the book goes on, you get to learn more about her relationship with her dad. You also get to see how McLean fits in to her new town, Lakeview. And there's a boy named Dave who is very interested, and McLean has to decide who she's going to be when she's around him. So if you like a good romance, I highly recommend this book by Sarah Dessen or any of her other books. Hope you enjoy.